What is up, guys? Just here, and today we're back again for another video. In today's video, we're going to be getting more into depth with Roblox building. And if you saw in the previous video before, we went over all of the basics and everything like that. I broke down the properties and appearance and all that cool stuff. But today we're actually going to be building our first thing. We're going to build like a little hut. This will be using all the basic components of what we need to be doing and all that cool stuff. So the first thing we all want to do is just insert a simple part. Okay, now you can adjust this how you want. You can have your settings however you want. The way my settings are set up is for more advanced and detailed work, but just to keep it simple for you guys, we'll set our rotation to 25. Well, no, we'll set our rotation to 10, and we'll set our move to 1 stud. And what we're going to do is we're just going to scale it down. Okay, all right, so parts spawn in as a 3 stud by, I believe it's 3 studs. Okay, so no, all parts spawn in a 2 by 4 stud. So you just want to lower it down to 4 studs, and then what we'll do is we'll bring it out to about 7 studs. Okay. So now we'll scale it up. All right. Now, if you do need to, you can go into Toolbox and just type in NPC or something in there. And then you can spawn an NPC if you do need a scaling reference. Usually, I put mine close to 15 studs. Between 10 and 20 studs is usually pretty good. So like, let's say if we pull this all the way down, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then, alright, so this is about 10 studs. Okay. Now, the reason why I set this scale so high is because the way I do this is, let's just make this like a color brown, and let's make it wood. Okay. So now what we go from here is we would duplicate this item. Now, if you want the key bind for that, all you need to do is just click Control D, and then you'll get it. Okay, so now we're left at this. All right, and you see, perfectly scaled, and you just drag it up to where it's the gap above their head, and then what we would do is Control D this, and then simply, we can grab the arrow. That was some technical difficulties. There you go. And see, this is the beginning of everything. All right. Now we will be going into some more detailed work later on, probably in the next video tomorrow. But as far as this goes, this is the start of everything. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to copy this, and we're going to pull it over 1. Okay. So now you want to go to your scale tool and drag it all the way so the parts are connecting. And we're just going to pull this back. All right. And then we're just going to Control Copy or Control D that. And then we have this. All right. Now, what you have from here is the beginning of our small little beginner hut. Okay. So now the simplest way to usually do this is you would copy one of your front pieces and pull it back to the back. Okay. And then what you want to do is just scale it to the other piece. And now we have a complete box. Now, the way we're going to do the roof can be several different ways. We could always just pull this up. Sorry if my camera is a little wonky. I have my camera speed up. Is they would just do a flat top and do it simply like that. Okay, and then we would just have the basic little box. Now, if this is your preference, then that is okay too, but we're not actually going to be doing that. This might be a little bit more advanced for some of you, but it's well worth it. So what we're going to do is insert a part and see how much rotation we have. Okay, so we're going to rotate it twice on the blue axle depending on how you're looking at this. If you got it this way, you'll rotate it on the red axle twice, or if it's on the green, for whatever reason it is, you'll rotate it on the green twice. Just make sure it is at an angle, and just leave some overhang. I'd probably say about 3 studs worth of overhang on each side. So we'll have, see how much it hangs over on the back. Okay, so that should actually be pretty decent. And then we'll pull this one over the edge, and then we'll just pull it up so that we can get a reference for what the next piece is going to look like. And we're actually just going to copy this, and then we're going to pull it out to pretty close to where the middle is, and we'll just tilt this. If we can grab this, so this will be the center. 1, 2, okay. And then from here, we'll just bump it up, and it looks like this is the middle. So we're just going to scale this down to where they aren't showing. Okay, so it's not quite, this isn't quite right. This has to come down 1. Doesn't look right. Okay, scratch that. We're just going to drag the piece. We're just going to set another separate part over here. Probably the easiest thing to do. Okay, so like we did before, we're just going to rotate it twice to the back. Alright, and then we're going to scale it. Make sure it's pretty close to 3 studs out, and then 1 extra stud on the side. Okay, we're just going to scale it up to this next piece. Alright, as you see, we're left with this little nasty stuff at the top. So you just want to make sure that none of them are able to poke up, and you can leave this little V shape. Now you could always use the gap fill plugin, which is what most people would use when it comes to this little, which would make this grass. Most people use the gap fill tool, which is okay. It's definitely a helpful tool, but the only bad part is that it leaves all that extra stuff at the end, which I will show you in just a minute. I believe I have it installed. Okay, yeah. So if we would pick this and pick that, it would gap fill it, but we have this little stinkler hanging out. And you know, the simplest fix for this is just to grab it and then scale it up where it's not seeable. We will have to lower our stud to 0 to do this. You want to do that, and you can just drag it up where it's not seeable, and there we go. Look, no gap. Roof looks pretty good, other than the little bit of V-lining, and we'll talk about that in the next video too when we go into more detail. And you know, you're left with these gaps, okay? And you know, most people are like, oh yeah, I could just do this, you know, just drag it up. Well, how you plan on doing that? So now, technically, we can do this, but that's more into the advanced stuff, and we'll get into that later on. But how to simply fix this, we're going to insert a wedge, all right? And then we're going to rotate it to fit in here perfectly. You know, one more. Maybe, okay, yeah, we did have it straight. All right, so now we're going to change this to 1 stud back again, and we're just going to scale it down to fit the wall, and then we're going to drag it all the way to where it's not visible over here, and I'm going to pull it up some. It's really hard to see what I'm doing. Okay, so looks like we're pretty close to the middle. And then what we want to do is make sure that it's the same color and material as the other one. Now, of course, you can change it if you'd like. And then we're going to duplicate it, move it back some, and we're going to rotate it to fit the other side too as well. And then you just want to control click and make sure you have both of them highlighted. Click Control D and then just drag these to the front as well. And there you go. The gaps are gone and it looks beautiful. And then you don't have that weird overhang other than that. We'll just push that back so because it won't, yeah, it shouldn't really affect them much. They're probably just a little bit big because I'm using a 1 stud instead of 0. But now we have our basic hut, and this is basically as far as the beginner gets. From here on, we'll be going into that fine detailing and stuff, and of course we'll get more into the advanced series. We'll definitely get way better. And before we do that, actually, we are going to be doing the floor. You want to do this to 0 and do any wall you like. Scale it down to as thin as you possibly can, and then you just want to drag it to the wall. You just want to fill all that nasty gap. Now we have that, and we'll just make that white so it doesn't look confusing. Alright, we have our little small hut, and I hope you guys found this video helpful. I know it wasn't really long. You know, it's just a practice build for people that are just now getting into Roblox building. Of course, if you're more advanced and you know all the basics to building already, I'll be posting videos later on in the advanced series when they're up. And you know, I hope you guys found this video helpful. I'm doing everything I can to post videos daily, and of course I'll keep you guys announced in the Discord below if any plans change. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I will give you my best answer. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.